Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Soccer Coaching Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Scott.
And I'm your other host, Mark.
In each episode, Mark and I will discuss the key topics that impact on football coaching in the foundation and youth development phases. We will share our thoughts, ideas and experiences, and whenever possible include guests so we can get their insights and opinions too. Thanks for listening and we hope you enjoy this episode. Happy New Year, Mark.
Happy New Year, Scott.
Feels a bit late in the month now to be saying that, doesn't it, really?
It does, yeah. I think you can
Middle of Jan.
You can still get away with it. You can still just about get away with it. How's things?
Well, very good indeed, yeah.
Good.
Very good.
Good.
New Year started for us, hasn't it? I know this episode's coming out maybe partway through the first month, but we've been back into it for a week or two now.
Yes, back on the grass or the AstroTurf
Back
mostly.
on the Astro.
Yeah.
Good start to the new year.
Yeah, it's good, yeah. And it was even better today because I'm just back from watching QPR beat Leeds.
Fresh back from Loftus
fresh
Road.
back. Yeah.
I was convinced this would be a funny podcast and I could just rip you the whole time for your 6-0 home drubbing, but it's not to be.
Yes, they done very well actually. First half we were very good, and then second half we were less good. I think Leeds probably were the much better team second half, and we were hanging on from about 46 minutes on, so it was a long old half.
Backs against the
yeah,
wall.
they missed a penalty and they had a player sent off late on, but it was a great learning actually, because I took my two sons to the game, and on the way back I said to them that we had a chat about the game, and we all agreed that Leeds were by far the better team second half, and I said that it's just a great lesson of what you get out of football when you work hard. It's just work harder than the opposition,
and every player, right?
Every player, and it gives you a chance of winning the game or getting out of the game that you want to get out of the game.
How many times do you see, and no disrespect to QPR compared to Leeds, but how many times do you see teams that probably player for player aren't technically better than the opposition, but because they outwork them, they get the results?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no science to it, is it really? I mean,
definitely.
Really, if you work hard, you've got a chance, right?
Yeah, and even those top players, those top players, when you talk about your Messis and your Ronaldos, they work really hard, right? They're top technically
on and off the pitch.
On and off the pitch, in training and in matches, and everything else they do in their lifestyles. But they work super hard on the pitch, and it's
that famous Ferguson quote in there where he says, it's funny because everyone say, "Oh, lucky Man United," but you say, "Oh, funny how the harder we work, the luckier we get." And
exactly.
It's the hard work comes first, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be part of, I think, today's episode when we get there.
Indeed, yes. Anyway, I'm very happy. So
well, congratulations. It's good, and I think they're 3 or 4 points off the playoff position, aren't they?
Yeah, we're doing all right actually.
So it's funny, that league's funny. 3 or 4 wins and then you're up, and then 3 or 4 defeats. And
everyone beats everyone. That's the good thing about that league. Yeah.
Well, I wonder if with Leeds whether or not, because I saw them play in the FA Cup against Arsenal and they were excellent, to be fair. I wonder if they're better suited to playing Premier League side, where it's a different game, isn't it? And actually, you've got to play a certain way to get out of the Championship, and a different way when you're in the Premier League potentially. And I think Leeds will get up. Their style of football leaves them vulnerable to Championship games, and also they're not great in London, are they? They don't win.
No, I think. Do you know what? I think they are a very good team. I wouldn't say they've got players that I look at and think, wow, these are really top players. Yeah. But they're all really strong players as a unit. They're very good, and obviously they've got a very good manager. They're having a bit of a wobble, but they're just such a big club, right? It's a fantastic club, Leeds. It'd be great to see them back in the Premiership. After QPR, obviously, but really good to see them there.
We won't mention the Brentford game, though.
No, we're not talking about Brentford. No.
All right, and second thing then, happy anniversary.
Yes, I was saying happy anniversary to you. So it's 1 year, right?
Thanks for my flowers.
You like red roses, do you?
I like anything, mate. Yeah, so it'd be 1 year. I think our first episode was the 22nd of January 2019, so this will go out somewhere around the same time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And that episode was, I'm sure you've listened to it at least 20 times since then, Mark.
Yeah.
What, do you remember what it was called?
I remember we were talking about the 10 things that make a good training session.
Oh, well done. What ingredients make for a great coaching session, and we did get to 10 things. So if you haven't listened to it, you want to wind back a few episodes.
The question is, if we
still believe in those things. Would we have different views? I think mine might change a little bit. Generally, I think I would probably be along the same lines, but I think I would have maybe changed the order around a little bit. I think maybe after this year. Yeah, I listened to it again not that long ago, but I think in principle, we were okay with what we were saying.
Yeah.
It wasn't a year ago, so we've not probably evolved that much away from it.
No.
If one thing's changed over this year, it's probably trying to not overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Almost just keep it simple and actually focusing on more of the principles than some of the other stuff. Actually, I feel is more successful for the age group we're talking about and the younger ones.
I think there's a shift as you get to older age groups, maybe bringing in more stuff. But I just actually keeping it simple. I don't think you can go too far wrong if you just get the basics in place. But the basics aren't always easy to put in place. But if you can get those in place, then other things seem to happen more naturally, or you can focus your attention on other things more easier. Okay, so that's Happy New Year and Happy Anniversary. So those are two big ones. Then and then some thank yous. That's okay. Should we do some? Because we've had a few things in. Then we'll get into the episode in a minute, I promise. But it's only right that we recognise some people that have made the effort to write into us. We have quite a few actually communications via email and or Twitter, and I'm going to just pick out a few if that's all right. So we had a nice email from a guy called Kevin Thomas. And he's got back into coaching after being out for a while, and he gave some really nice feedback. And the only thing he said was, which was quite pleasing, when you see the nice bit, the first paragraph, and the second paragraph says, just one thing I want to mention. I'm like, oh, okay. But here's for simply, can we make sure the episodes are loud enough to hear?
Oh, there we are.
That's a technical point for me to work out. So he did say, can I turn off Mark's mic more?
Yeah, that's
and just
fair.
turn mine up, so that's fair enough.
That's fair,
But I will. I'm going to try and find a way to make sure when we do the editing and upload it onto platforms that the episodes come through a bit louder, because a few people said that it's quiet on their headphones when they listen in the car and stuff. So I'll work on that to make sure it's coming through a bit louder. So apologies if it's too loud, but maybe it's better too loud and turning down than you can't hear it. Good feedback, yeah. And then a couple others. Liam Ashworth, who works in the youth development phase, coaches quite a lot by the sounds of it, almost full time. He asked if we could cover, again, some nice feedback, and said, could we do something around the technical elements of defending, which I thought would be an interesting one for some point in the future. So if that's okay, Mark, I might leave that with you because certainly coaching the older boys that you've got, maybe that's something that you might have done or be thinking about doing or something. So can we do an episode on that maybe at some point between now and, I don't know, March, April time?
Yeah. Good idea. Yeah, definitely.
And then Joel McDonald gave us a really nice email. So Joel's out in Canada, and again, some really nice feedback, but gave some really good thoughts. I won't share them now, but what we're going to try and do is pick some of this stuff up when we cover them on other episodes. But he gave some really good feedback, a couple of our episodes, around playing five-a-side.
Right.
One thing, and the way he approaches it with his 3-1 formation. There's some really good points there, things I hadn't considered, so I'm really grateful for that. Okay. He also did a pros and cons around guided discovery and Q&A. And again, really interesting what he'd written there, and a really interesting perspective. So I'm grateful for that. And he recommended a book called Coaching Team Shape by, I think it's Emilio Cecchini. I might have said the name wrong, but he recognised the book. I'm not familiar with it, but maybe some other coaches out there have heard it or seen it, or if not, have a little look on Amazon and see what you think. But Coaching Team Shape by Emilio Cecchini, I'll be looking out for that one. And judging by Joel's feedback and his comments, it sounds like he's got a good perspective on football, and we're very grateful for that. Part of the reason doing the podcast, Mark, isn't it, is that we get hints and tips ourselves, because we're very much learning and on the journey. So when people like Joel make the time and effort to give us some advice and guidance, we're very grateful for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it's critical as a coach, right? You keep
learning. Yeah, 100%. And the last few then, so we've had on Twitter, Rob Robinson, he's sent us a question around player behaviour, which I'm going to reply back to him direct through email. But again, he works with the age group, the under 8s, so I can hopefully share some ideas that we've had around some stuff around players and just behaviour, things like that, which we'll try and hopefully share, and that might be useful. And Keith, no surname, but Keith gave some really nice feedback as well via Twitter on a message, so we're grateful for that, Keith. Thank you very much for listening and sharing your thoughts. And then the last few, I won't go into what they said, but it was nice feedback, but they've all asked the same thing. So we had Hannah Stevens, I think it's Emmanuel Correa, and Craig Davis, who all said about, in different ways, but nice feedback, but all said about, could we kind of talk through a session?
Okay.
So today's episode is going to be talking through today's session. But we've also had other people previously asking about maybe coming to observe a session, whatever else. So we'll come on to that at the end. But the fact that Hannah, Emmanuel and Craig have all asked specifically about talking through a session, that's what we'll focus on today. And just before we get into that, just to say to everyone out there, we're really grateful for your interactions and your feedback. It means a lot to Mark and I. Not the recognition and the praise, although obviously it's nice for our little egos. It's positive when we get nice feedback. But it's just nice hearing your thoughts, your experiences, if these episodes are helping or not, and also getting your input back to us, because we do listen and we learn from getting the responses back too, don't we? And we take these things into our sessions. So it's a two-way process. I know we've got the mics and we're talking at you guys, but we do listen to the responses, and they certainly help us out as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you can, please like the episodes if you do like them, and share within your club, share within your coaching communities. Just spread the word if you can. It'd be nice to get to even more listeners this year. We had a target of trying to do, I think, 20 episodes last year and trying to get 500 listeners, and we got, I think, to nearly 30 episodes and over 2,000 listeners. So we did all right, I think. But we've got another year, another challenge, and the idea is we can build that up even more, which would be brilliant.
Yes.
But to do that, obviously, it needs people out there listening to buy into the messages and shout as well about them, which would be brilliant. So please, like, share, leave reviews. It doesn't take too long to click on the stars and type something in there, and we'll be grateful for that. And if you can, follow us, if you don't already, at Twitter, which is @SoccerCoachCast. The follows are good because we get to see who's engaging in the episodes, and we pin up stuff there, as and when we can, about the episodes themselves, or just when the new episodes are out and things. So that's the housekeeping done.
Cool.
Is that all right?
Tick the box. Yeah,
right. Thanks, Doc. I'll see you next week.
I should do that one day, right? But you do it so well, so I feel like...
Did I miss anything?
I think you covered everything.
That's all right, is it?
Yes.
So, Mark, today then, so we're going to go through the session I did with the under-8s.
Yes.
Yeah, is that all right? We'll talk through it. Now, I totally appreciate that actually, over an audio is not the easy way to kind of illustrate something that was very visual, but I think we could do it.
Yeah.
And you were there for most of the session and saw it all. So we've not spoke one bit about it.
No.
It wasn't even the plan to is necessarily really, but I think we just do it.
Yep.
Talk through it. Please challenge.
Yep.
And I'm happy to try and explain what I did or where I thought things went right, where it went wrong, and maybe where it fits into the bigger picture and stuff.
Yep, that's good. So let's do it. So this was the session from this morning. So it's literally hot off the press, right? This session.
I've had some time to reflect. I've had a few hours to think about it. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you're working with the under-8s. You had how many players this morning?
I had 9 this morning.
So 9 players. Okay. And
nice even number.
Yeah, and they're all the players are of the similar ability, right? Because the players is the way our club works. The players are streamed, so you generally have got players of a similar ability.
Good point to contextualise it. Yeah, they are. So we had today we had 8 boys. We have a red, white, and blue team, as people might know who've listened to other episodes. Red, white, and blue, which you might call an A, B, and a C.
Yeah.
And I know there's arguments for and against streaming players. I totally understand it. We buy into that. But we do also mix things up where we can.
Yeah.
But for most of the sessions, it's divided into the A, B, and the C's, the red, white, and blues. We had the red boys. We had 8 red boys today, plus we had one of the white boys training with us because we like to do that, especially this time of year when we're looking about transitioning 7-a-side, and adding players in. So we'd always look internally first. So I work closely with the white team manager, and they'll recommend players based on effort and attitude and application in their sessions. And if they're happy for it, then that player will train up with us, and we'll get on. So today we had 8 of the team plus one boy not available for our team, and one boy training up, who gave us the 9.
Yeah, so you had the dreaded odd number to do.
You know what? Yeah, it's true. I don't mind as long as you know what you've got. It's when it changes that's the problem. And actually changing, even if it had gone from 9 to an 8, would have thrown it out there a little bit, because I kind of done a few things where it did. There was a lot of 3v3 stuff, and there's a reason for that. But I know to plan for the change in the morning when someone's got poorly or something. But it was I don't mind what number it is, as long as you know and it pans out.
It's a good challenge though, right? When you have to
definitely
when you get a late notice, someone not coming along. But that is pretty rare with your team. Size of pitch. What size pitch have you got?
So we share an Astro pitch. We have a full Astro pitch.
3G pitch.
Yes, a full 3G pitch.
Yep.
3G pitch, a full 3G pitch, which is divided into thirds.
Yep.
And we have half of that third.
Yeah.
So it's still a decent space. So it's half a 7-a-side pitch, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah,
is that
roughly.
What you would say?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. So you got like a sixth of a full size pitch, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because we're in one of the corners, actually, you've got a little bit extra space here because you've got the runoffs as well, haven't you? A little bit rather than the middle bit. So so that's the space we're working with. But for 9 under-8s, it's enough.
Easily enough, right? Okay. So what was the theme of the session today?
Yep. So we have a curriculum, and people will know who've listened to other episodes that we kind of try and have a plan for the year. Our yearly plan was to work on 3 areas. It was to outwork, outthink, and outplay, and roughly that's over each term. So term 1, which is September till December, would be outthink, and then from January through to the end of March would be outwork. In term 1. So that's September to December.
Yeah.
Then from January to March, end of March, it would be outthink, and then from April onto probably the end of June time, it will be outplay.
Okay.
So that was the 3 themes, and within that there's other stuff that goes on. So we've done all of outwork last term. We've moved on to outthink this term, and for the first 3 sessions of outthink, and this was week 3 of those 3 sessions, we were working on outthink when you've got the ball. So when you've got the ball, what's the options you've got available to you, and can you make good decisions with those options? Okay. So that was the thing. So and that's been the first 3 weeks. We'll be moving on to what the player. So outthink with the ball, then we're doing outthink when your teammates got the ball, and then finally we're doing outthink when the team's got the ball.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. So that's kind of a 9-week plan, if you like, for what would be term 2. So we're on week 3 of term 2, which is the final week of with the ball.
Okay, so it's outthink with the ball. That's the kind of theme or the focus.
Yeah.
In regards to outwork and outplay, do they still feature in the training session?
Really good point. Yeah. So what we did at the start of the season, we spoke about all 3. Yep. And we explained that all 3 are always important.
Yep.
And, whatever one we're focusing on was shining a light on more than the others doesn't mean the other ones aren't important still. For the first 2 weeks or so, might have been 3 weeks, but certainly the first couple of weeks of this season, under 8s, we kind of just looked at everything. So the players have an understanding about what outwork means, what outthink means, what outplay means, and what's involved. Not specific, but an understanding of it. So, and they recognise it's all important. Then we went heavy on the outwork bit for the first term. But obviously, you've still got to think and play. That's part of it all. But we were shining a light on the outwork bit, still recognising the other elements. And then what we've done in term 2, we've kind of said, right, the outwork bit, we've smashed it, we're fantastic, but we've got to maintain that now without spotlight being on it. So we still expect to outwork and work as hard as that, but now we're going to just move that light a little bit onto the outthink bit. So my challenge there is to keep spinning the outwork plate to make sure it stays up and that level, but also shine the spotlight now on the outthink bit with the ball first. And for what I can say is, since we come back from Christmas, the outwork bit has not dropped one bit, and without me saying anything. So even though terms like a long time, it's like 12-ish weeks really of working on it, it shows you actually, it's in there now. And I kind of feel, not to tempt fate, I'm not saying there won't be some wobbles and some weeks when players individually collectively drop off a little bit. But currently, oh my God, the work ethic is maintained, which means I can focus on the outthink bit without having to worry about going back too much.
Yeah, it's probably worth adding that the outwork is a little bit linked to what your theme was last year in terms of being the hardest working team or hardest working player. So it's almost an extension of that to a certain extent. So for want of a better phrase, the boys have been hammered a little bit in terms of working hard for the last 2 seasons since you had them. So
I think that's a good point as well, Mark. So to rewind it back to the very beginning then. So when we had the players under 6s, our first thing was respect, effort, fun. Yeah. So in that order. So you respect everybody, the equipment, the time, and everything else. Effort is critical, and then it's fun. So respect first, then effort, and fun is third on our list. And I have no shame about saying that, because it's hard to have fun if you're not being respectful and putting effort in. I don't believe it. I think you've got to have these things in place first, then the fun comes. It's one of the 3 keys, fundamentals, but it's third on that list. So you're right, we've had that in place. And then under 7s, we were very much, the 3 things for us were get on the ball, make good choices, play tough. Yeah, that was the 3 things. So again, it's had that be the hardest working player has been the message kind of throughout. So you're right. So I guess what we did this season with the outwork bit in term 1 was kind of look at, okay, what does that really like in practice? So yes, attitude is a big part of that, but actually, it's all about working smart and stuff. So we kept the ethos and the philosophical approach about working hard, I guess, and the attitude, but then looked at it more from a technical point of view as well about how that plays out in a game and stuff and what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. And I think at some point, we won't talk about it today, but I think it's a good point around the working smartly as well, not just working hard, working smartly. But
especially as the boys get older, right?
Yeah, exactly. In the interest of time, we carry on. Okay, so I think we got the general background in terms of, or we set the scene for the training session. Anything more you want to add on that? And
I don't think so, but you're right to mention it because it's everything in context, right? Yeah. Everything, and even the session itself, if someone could come and just observed it today, they'd be bitching, scratching, going, what's that about? So you have to kind of understand the bigger picture and where it fits in and things. Okay. But I think that would probably paint enough a picture to understand where we're at.
One final question. How long does the session last, or how long did it last today?
Our sessions run for 90 minutes, but we're lucky because we're first on, so we have access to the facility, we can get on it. We allow the players to turn up 15 minutes prior to the start of the session for what we call free play. Yeah. So we're always there about 20 minutes before the session officially starts, at least. And all we do as coaches is, that's all 3 coaches across the red, white and blue team. We'll just set up some mini pitches with some little bazooka goals. I don't know what size they are, but they're the small pop-up kind of goals. And we'll have mini pitches on each pitch, and as the players come, they can join the pitch and play. The idea is that we mix up the A, Bs and the Cs, or the red, white and blues. It doesn't always play out practically like that because of the space, but although it's only one 3G facility, it's still quite a lot of space between one team to the other. But we try and make sure we mix up a couple of the boys at least from each of the teams, so it's not just the Reds all playing against each other and the Whites and stuff. And you can pretty much guarantee that most players are there around 8:30. Certainly everyone's there before 8:45 when we actually officially start the training.
Yeah. So The session starts free play across the whole age group.
Yeah.
It's kind of mixed up where it's possible. Boys can, if a boy wanted to choose a particular pitch, they could go and play on that pitch, right?
100%. Yeah.
So
we don't get involved too much in it. It's almost playground rules. Don't care if it's 6 feet. Well, actually, we keep the numbers down. But say, if it's a 4v2, doesn't matter. It hasn't got to be a 3v3 necessarily. Just deal with it. Play.
Okay.
But the kids sort it out anyway.
And just, I think we've spoken about this before. But just explain some of the benefits of free play then.
So the players come. They get there on time, if not early, so everyone's ready to play. They've run off some steam and stuff before the session started, so they're ready to listen and learn and work with you a little bit more, maybe because they've had that 50 minutes of running around. They love it. They know that when they come to train, the first thing they do is going to play football, which is what they come for in the first place. Yep. It's a great chance to mix up the players and give them different experiences with each other, and remind everyone that you're part of one squad rather than individual teams. Yep. It's a great opportunity for the coach to have a chat with each other, with the parents a little bit, put your cones out, get your head kind of cleared and things. It's good to see how the players are playing, who's up for it, who's grumpy today. If you've got, a kid that's got an issue around whether they're just quiet or leery or whatever it might be, you can see what they're on like today. You can get a feel for it. Yeah. The challenge is really stepping back though and letting it happen. Don't get involved, if you don't have to. Obviously you want to keep it safe. If they're not killing each other, just let them deal with it. If there's some tears, sometimes just let them see if they can give it 30 seconds and maybe it will sort itself out. Just give that ownership back to the players a little bit. And it doesn't take long before they realise this is their time then as well, and they just come and do it. As long as the pitch is out and they're ready to play, off they go. Yep. What I often find is we go down there and there'll be 3 or 4 kids and they've got the balls out and they'll start pinging the balls at the big goal first. Yep. But the minute the goals are up and you say, right, let's go, they're on straight away. They don't moan about, they're just on it playing, they love it. And, and often we say 15 minutes, but I don't mind letting it go for another 5. It's quite exciting. I watch the last 5 minutes and, and it'll be, I'll say to the boys, what's the score? And they'll say, oh, it's 10-6 to us. And I'm like, okay, 0-0, let's go. Who's going to win? 2 goals to win it. And no one complains.
It raises the level actually when you do that.
Exactly. Now they're at again, and then they're going back up and they're not minding, oh, that's not fair. It was, we already win. No, it's 0-0. Now let's go off we go again. Who's going to get? I want to watch this. Who's got it? Who's doing what? And just get them staying on the ball. Stay on the ball. Don't it can be all the kind of the playground rules. Don't go around passing the ball. Just get on it and beat players. Can you beat everyone and get your goal? It's just a nice, fun way to start.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think 2 things from me, and I know this is about you, not me, but 2 things from me.
It's all about me.
I would say, I think it's great. It's for the social corners, great, right? It's like, as you said, it's like playground rules. Everyone's having fun. There's still that competitive element there, but it's great for the social corner. And you know what? It also just takes the edge off the boys a little bit. These are we're talking 7-8-year-old boys, and I would do I do free play as well for the under 11s, and it just takes the edge off them because they come down there, they're like desperate to get playing football. They haven't seen their mates since the day before, so they're kind of lively, and it just makes, I think, your training session a little bit more manageable when you first start it, if you've allowed them to run a bit of steam off for 15 minutes.
So true, definitely. And they're ready to listen, aren't they, and learn and stuff, and they want to take a breath and they can play at a slower pace then, and then you've got some control over them. Yeah.
And it allows you also to set the rest of the session up, right? You can start getting things together and things like that. So whilst they're playing, you're getting yourself organised and all that. Yeah. That's great. Okay, all right. So you've free play for 15, 20 minutes. Next piece, what do you do after free play then today?
So then what happens straight away is we do the winning goal, whatever else. They get that, we'll go crazy, right, have a quick drink, and then I will, if I haven't done already for the week before, I will quickly pull one of the boys over and have a chat and say, you're doing the skill session today. Okay. This morning. And they'll know what it is. And I'll just remind them some of the things about that. So while the other boys are getting a drink, I'll walk over with one of the players and I would just say, so what are you going to do with the boys? And he'll say, we'll do a Ronaldo chop first. We'll do a Maradona or a Joe Cole. So he'll talk me through a few things he's going to get the players to do. And I would say to him, okay, just what's important? Then he'll say, do it in match speed, working hard, me being loud, as in the boy being loud to tell the players so they can hear him and stuff. So little thing, and then I'll let that player will lead the skill session with the boys for 5 or 10 minutes, not for long.
And that player, when you say lead, he's not standing there watching, talking, he's
leading by example.
Yes.
Ball at his feet, doing it all. So he'll go in there and he'll say, right, we now Ronaldo chops, and they'll move around the pitch and they'll do Ronaldo chops, and then they'll add another skill. So right now I'll do Ronaldo chop followed by Maradona. So then, so he's building up just 2, 3, 4 skills, but he's taking that session. The boys have a space to work in. I'll watch, and then the question I love to ask after about 2 or 3 minutes, I'll ask, if it was you as the kid taking it, Mark, who's the hardest working player at the moment? He'll say, Scott is. And I'm like, well done, Scott. What's he doing well? He's doing a match speed. He's doing this. They don't always pick their mates. Yep. Suddenly everyone else wants to go and do the thing there.
Yep.
Or if I say, who's doing a really good Ronaldo chop, he'll say, whoever. And I say, right, let's have a demonstration then. So we'll stop for 10 seconds. Right, Louis, do the Ronaldo chop. Sit, done it. All right, brilliant. Off we go again. So, it's their session, and I'm just trying to, just ratchet up a little bit. But they own it, and it shows they can listen to each other. They've got something. They're leading it a little bit. They're owning some of that stuff.
Okay, so you basically give them ownership of that particular part of the session.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long did that last this morning?
Because time's always tight. It's funny how quick time goes. It's at least 5 minutes. Sometimes it can be a bit longer, but usually about 5 minutes. And it doesn't sound very long, but that's long enough, really. I think what the players of that age don't get a concept of time, so they'll do an out of shot for like 20 seconds and go on to the next one. Actually, you could do it like 2 minutes of practice and that a little bit more, but they'll just kind of almost rush through it. So by the time I go back, or I've seen them after about 2 or 3 minutes, they're on that trick number 10, and they're spending more time trying to work through the order of the tricks rather than the thing. So let's be clear. I don't think. I think there's some value in this technically. I mean, and they're good players; they can do these things. But this is about the social side again. This is about ownership of it, of the training session. With the plan being, I mean, most of these boys are still 7. Some have turned 8, but 7/8. The idea being that when we go to under 96, they can own more of that, and to a slightly higher standard of technical ability as well in the delivery of the session. Now it's just getting the fact that actually I've got to be in charge for 5 minutes of the players. And for some, not an issue at all. For others, that's still a little bit challenging for confidence wise.
Okay, that's good. So and how big is the area that you set up for the ball skills?
I used to think about that quite a lot and try and worry about the space. I don't worry too much now. It can depend on what else I'm doing, so I try and build out the session. So what I do is I'm sure we'll talk about this towards the end maybe, but I almost work backwards. So I plan out for my last practice and then kind of work in from that. So the actual space, I'll try and section off a quarter of whatever it might be, and it can vary. But I don't make it too small. I think I used to make it quite tight to kind of get lots of touch on the ball. I kind of give them the space. You tend to find, because they've done the free play session and stuff, they're not running around there anyway. They want to work in tighter spaces, so you almost don't have to worry about that as much. I do section off a little bit so they're not all drifting around and stuff, and they can hear the boy talking, because the boys aren't that loud even when they're talking. So as a rough 15 by 20-ish kind of area, I guess, but it doesn't matter too much. Whatever you can kind of section off, because you've built out your session now, hopefully, and you've got the space you're going to work in. And I'll just try and find a quarter. I might need 2 or 3 coaches to make a quarter out somewhere that would work for the players.
Okay, all right, that's good. So I guess my 2 challenges to you then, because perhaps I would do it slightly differently. I guess my first challenge then: do you think 5 minutes is long enough for ball skills? Because there'll be a lot of people out there that do this kind of ball mastery, and I personally think it's an important part of the session, and people will do it. We've seen at some of these development centres and academies, they do it for a long time, and the people doing it are very good, and they keep the boys entertained for 30, 40 minutes.
Engagement, don't they? Engagement. The level of...
and certainly I couldn't do it for that period of time. But do you think 5 minutes is long enough for the players that you've got? Because they are technically good players. Do you think 5 minutes is long enough?
No, it's not, and that's a good point. So
I think it was longer than 5 minutes this morning.
It was longer, but what I do then is then I jump back in,
right,
and then I kind of almost finish it off with another 5 or 10 minutes of some other stuff, which includes some 1v1 stuff. So,
perfect.
But it's a good point. Do I spend long enough doing individual ball skills with the boys? Even though I'm not a big fan of it, I still don't. I should do longer, and I do think what I will be doing is more of that maybe. Next year under 9s. My personal feeling is, as the players work through the years, they can probably embrace a slightly more time on technical stuff. That's how I feel about it. If we had the kids 3 sessions a week plus the weekends, we would spend more time doing that, definitely. I think with the time I've got to use it wisely. It needs a bit more time allocated to it, and I think the boys will be ready for that maybe more next season. So it needs a bit longer, but that's not all they will do. There'll be a bit more to this moving forward. But that's the bit the players own themselves, if you like. 5 minutes or so.
That's fair.
And for them, it's probably long enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, and in terms of the space you're working in, it's probably be a bigger space than I would use, because I think I like a smaller space because there's more interference and it makes it a bit more of a variable type practice because they're having to think with their heads up, because there's a lot of boys in the smaller space.
I think it's a good point, and like I said, the spaces do vary size, but I think generally speaking, mine are probably always on the too big side.
Cool. So finished. The ball skills had finished, or not finished, but that part, the player ownership had finished.
Yep.
And the next piece you went
I'll
into...
jump back in the same thing. So then I'll ask them to freestyle, show them what they've just done,
Yep.
and talk to the guy that ran the session a little bit, who did really, oh yeah, I see that. So,
Yep.
so it doesn't stop, we keep flowing with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll just want to make sure if there's something I think that needs a bit of polishing, I'll kind of just say, right, let's do that a bit crisper, let's work on this, right, let's show me that Ronaldo's job again, right. Not overly coach it, but just talk about, okay, what technique we could be using, when we're going to use it, and the boys will do it and have a little chat. If one's struggling with something, maybe have a little look, one boy's doing it well and things. So just make it a bit more... Just try and get a bit more out of it if we can.
Yep.
And then what I'm adamant about is then we make it opposed.
Perfect.
Yeah. So then we go straight, but it doesn't stop saying the same thing. So we put in some 1v1 stuff or 2v1s, whatever it might be. So we've done the skill with the players. Let it. We fine tuned a little bit. Now let's use it.
Okay. All right. And what did the opposed look like this morning then?
So what I did today was, you may have seen, as they were doing the ball skills bit, we had 9 boys, so I was giving bibs out. So we had 3 groups of 3.
Yep.
Yeah, and because it was going to flow to the rest of the session to some extent. So we had 3 groups of 3, and once we'd done the players' ball skills bit, then my little interventions with some of the ball skill stuff, we then did a 1v2 keep ball.
Yes.
So we kind of worked in the same space actually.
Yeah.
And it was a 1v2 keep ball. So all the boys put the ball into your goal, one player get in your threes, one player keep the ball in your hands, right, you've got the ball, other 2 got to get it off you, put the ball down, play. Yeah, and off they go. And that's it. So ball's on the floor, I've got it, the other 2 have got to try and win it and keep it. Yeah. So now you've really got to work, and that's a 1v2. So that's quite challenging.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I must say I thought that was excellent. The 1v2, I thought it was a real challenge, right? Trying to keep a ball from 2 other players who have similar ability to
definitely,
you.
And it shows you how good they are at doing it. Actually, there was a rationale for this. So it starts off on the 1v2 keep ball. Now, you could have done a 2v1 keep ball, so 2v1, but because we were doing the outthink in possession, with that, the boys know this. I think there's 5 things you can do. You can protect it, you can dribble with it, you can run with it, you can pass it, or you can shoot. Out of all those ones, the one thing the boys don't, not all of them do particularly well, is protect the ball. So I thought, actually, by making it a 2v1, they've got to protect the ball a little bit. Not all the time, because you have someone take it from the front if you're covering from the back. So you can't do it all the time, but a bit of protections. So that was the rationale for doing it that way round in this particular practice, just because I wanted to see a bit more, not just running around the pitch and trying to outrun the 2 guys chasing you, but actually protect the ball. And actually, at first you saw a lot of just, right, can I knock it in space and run, and they would chase me around. Then they got a bit tired and they had to protect the ball. At one point I had to stop it and say, what's the options again? It reminds the other option then, and protect. And then you saw a bit more of that. Now, I didn't really coach it, and there wasn't a lot of it, but there was a bit more of it. But it was just to try and remind them of that particular thing and its use.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
And then I progressed it. You're
going to go on, no?
Yeah, then, so what because the way I'd set the pitch up, there was a white line running through the middle of the area they were working in. And I think this is really good. So it was basically a 1v2 keep ball. And then we stopped it and said, right, now, if you've got the ball, can you dribble across the white line? Okay. And give us 100 points.
So the white line goes across the centre of the small pitch.
So the square we had marked out, there's a white line running through the middle of it. And I just kind of planned around this white line. So there was a marker there. It wasn't quite in the centre, but it didn't matter. It was far enough in the middle to be able to be usable. But then, so the idea being is, if I've got the ball and it's you and someone else chasing me, if I can get over that white line, I get 100 points. If I can keep it and get back over that white line again, I get another 100 points. So can I get the ball now? So now it's directional. So now I've got to think about, got to use my body clever and turn and twist and get over and over the line again and again and again. And if my teammate, if the other guy wins it, then they've got to do the same thing. So now you've kind of, not only are you trying to keep the ball, you've actually got a purpose now to what you're trying to do.
So you're making it, you're adding points into it, you're making it more competitive, which again I think also then lifts the work rate, the intensity, even more, and the intensity and the desire to kind of get.
And they were tired after the first just keep ball one, so they, that's quite leggy. We haven't stopped yet. We're still going. So we want to put out 15 minutes probably into that skill session now. So they're still going at that, and it's it's hard work. But they want to go over that white line, don't they? And it's directional now. So fitness in there, technique. Can you do the technique even when you're tired? Can you work hard? And then do you see one boy go on the floor and one get up, and now it's a 1v1 situation? And can that boy then cash in and get over the line a few times to get extra points? So I quite liked it. And this is one. This was actually on the boot room. I saw this practice in the boot room, and it was done 1v1. I didn't see it down 2. I think it was 1v1, but I pinched it from that. But I think it's worked well.
Right, that's good. Another, just back to the question, so the linking between the unopposed and the opposed, have you ever thought about perhaps there's a certain skill in the unopposed where they've practiced, I don't know, be a Maradona or a Cruyff turn, or I don't know, an L turn, a V turn, and then try to get that into the opposed session. So perhaps if you're able to do this skill and get it over the line, you get 500 points. Do you think that's something that could be done? I've seen it done before. I've done it myself, not all the time. And sometimes I think it works well. Sometimes I think probably didn't work as well because then the players just concentrate on that skill. Yeah,
I don't know, Mark. It's a good question again. I think this goes back to probably my philosophical approach towards it, and this and the unopposed and almost being prescriptive in the solution.
Yeah.
What I quite like about our little team is I don't tell them what to do. They find the thing that works for them. But you are right. Maybe it would be good for someone to be almost forced to practice something or encouraged to do something. So I don't do it. I probably should at least give it a go. My slight argument is find the thing that works for you, and you trying to do a Maradona at the wrong time for no reason. Is that the right thing? I don't know. Yeah. You might be a better solution to it. I'd rather almost say that you've got 3 or 4 things here that you can use. You pick the right one and almost recognise, we did that. With that took you towards the pressure there. What could you have done? Instead, okay, that's interesting. Maybe that's the one you can use next time. Yeah. So you almost, rather than say, right, now it's bonus points for Ronaldo chops, or now it's bonus points for Maradonas, or bonus points for step overs. It's like, well, you've got the ones you can use. Can you use the right one at the right time?
Yeah.
But I get you, and I think actually, again, maybe it's something where under 9s I might be more willing to think more technical about some of this stuff, and I think maybe the players are more willing to accept some of that stuff as well because they're a little bit older, more mature, and kind of we've built the other stuff up around it. Yeah. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's a good point. I would just be slightly wary of being too prescriptive about it, so do it in a careful way.
Yeah, I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think there's a wrong or right answer. Right, I think you can have a skill of the day, and you could perhaps then, in the match, in when you do the kind of games at the end, or you do games all the way through, but you could then add it in terms of extra points.
Definitely,
but
anyway, definitely.
I don't think there's a right.
No one's going to suffer from doing it, are they?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've done the ball skills, opposed and unopposed, unopposed and then opposed, I should say. You might need to edit that out. And then next part.
So then we had a quick drinks break,
and
we reminded about the theme about being outthink and spoke about that.
Yeah.
And spoke about what they'd done in the skills session a little bit, so what we're talking, and then why we're talking again with the drinks, because they're blowing now, that's a proper session there. They've done the free play, they've had a quick drink, then they've had another 20 minutes of that really, and now we're going to go into the next game, but I'm not wasting any time here. While we're drinking, we're talking, reflecting a little bit on what they've just done, remembering the theme of the session, what we did last week, what we're talking about, what's important while we're drinking, and then I'm showing them the next game so we can visually see it. And what we've got there is an area, I think, Mark, it's probably 20-ish by 20-ish,
so,
maybe slightly bigger, but not it. I thought it was. My worry was it was too small. I actually think it might have been too small, but it presented a challenge to the players. Yeah. So we've got the area 20-ish by 20-ish,
and it's a square, right?
It's a square
20 by 20. Yeah.
And I've got 3 small goals set up. So if you just picture the square and the bottom right there, you've kind of got a goal just inset between the bottom right and the left hand side there. Yeah. Then if you picture the bottom left, we've got a goal inset there between the bottom left and the top left. Yeah. And then we've got a goal between the top left and the top right, roughly in the middle. So you've got 3 goals.
So you've got 3 goals on 3 of the sides.
On 3 of the sides.
One side there's nothing.
And the one side there's nothing at all, Okay. So you've got 3 goals kind of spread out on the square. Yeah. And the boys are in their bibs still from what we put them in before, which they worked in for the 1v2 session as well. But now they're playing together, not against each other.
Yep. Just one question on that, just sorry to interrupt. So I think that you chose who should go in each team. Point. Was there a specific reason for that, not letting the boys?
Yeah, two reasons. So maybe, I don't know if this is going to sound right or wrong. I often do let the boys choose.
That's why I was surprised when I saw it, actually.
It's not often I put the teams out. Yeah. A couple of reasons. We're actually playing a 7-a-side match tomorrow, which we've never done before. Yeah. Now, the funny thing about 7-a-side is to take the keeper out, there's a lot of this, and this is the 3v3 thing as well. It's kind of, you're working in threes. Yeah. Whether that's, the formation we'll probably play is goalkeeper, 2 back players, centre midfield, 2 midfield players, and a front player. Yeah. So there's triangles, but it's really a 3 and a 3. Yeah. Or you could even say like it's the 3 using the left back, the left mid, and the centre mid. Yeah. Or so it's all 3s really. Yeah. So I wanted to do lots of work in 3s. So I put them together. One of 2 reasons. One is that's how they're probably going to play tomorrow in the game in the 3s, not for the whole game, but there's some left foot, right foot, centre mid. I was kind of thinking that's how it's going to work tomorrow. So they just get used to themselves, and it won't tomorrow when they're playing. They won't have thought about that, but they'd have played a bit today, which will transfer into tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
So it wasn't because of the game tomorrow, but if you're going to put it together, you might have some rationale behind it.
Yep.
So a bit of left foot, a bit of right foot, a bit of both foot.
Yep.
And then that's also how it will work out in the match tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay.
So we've set up. So the pitch I'm explaining to the players. So we've got blues, oranges, and reds.
Yep.
And I say, right, blues, that's your goal. You're defending that goal there.
Yep.
Oranges, you're defending that goal there.
Yep.
Reds, you're defending that goal there. So
Yep.
they've got a goal each to defend. What do you have to do with the other two? What do you have to do? Score. What goals can you score in? The other two goals.
Okay,
brilliant. So when you've got the ball, blues, how many players are playing against you? 6.
Yep.
All right, so it's a 3v6. Easy or hard? Hard. Okay,
Yep.
good. It's going to be hard, right? The 6 haven't got the ball. What happens when you win it? When we win it, okay, how many boys playing against you? 6, because it changes. Okay, so it's always a 6 versus 3.
Yep.
So it's going to be tough out there.
Yep.
And so what we're working on today? We're working on outthink. Okay, so if you're the one with the ball, what's your options? Well, I can pass, I can dribble, run with it, I can shoot, I can protect it.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
That's the game. Off you go. Play. 100 points for all 3 players if you score, and that's if you can score for your team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All team scores.
Yep. So I've seen the session. I can see you drawing it out. So just to make sure that everyone listening understands as well, you've got a 20 by 20 box. You've got 3 small goals, one on each side of the box.
Yep.
And then you've got one side which has got no goals on it.
Nothing on it at all. Yeah.
And then you've got 3 teams of 3, so 9 players in total playing.
Yep.
Each team is defending a goal.
Yep.
And therefore attacking 2 goals.
So they can score in either the other goals.
Okay.
Yeah, good point.
And then
no goalkeepers.
No goalkeepers because they're small bazooka goals.
You can't even stand in front of the goal. You don't even want to, you can't even stand and block it. You've got to be involved in the game.
Yeah. And effectively, when one team have got the ball, they've got 6 other players trying to get there off them.
Yeah, so they can attack 2 different goals. They've got to play against 6, so it's not easy and a relatively small space.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean you can make it big if you want to, and we'll talk about it in a second, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously the idea here is about I really wanted to put the boys under pressure about making good decisions with the ball. That was what it was about. It wasn't making it easy for them. So when I've got the ball, I've got to think, what am I going to do with it? Because actually, I've got 2 people I can pass to, but I've got 6 players around me. So it's got to be a good pass, the right pass. Or do I have to dribble into space first before I make that pass? Or can I attack the goal and get the shot?
Yeah.
And also, what I was looking for, and I saw bits of it today, although not as much as I would hoped, is the idea of attacking one goal, then being clever enough to kind of change direction and attack another goal.
Yeah.
Either through yourself or by a player off the ball, standing in good space.
Yeah. Because I think when we've done a lot of games, or you've set a lot of games up where you've had like a Firmino type approach, where you've got 2 goals at either end, and the boys, when they play that, the changing from one goal to another, wherever the spaces, is superb. Yeah. So I totally understand where you're coming from there. Okay, all right. What do you?
I think what made it harder here is the fact that the direction of the goals is a bit random, isn't it?
It is,
because you're going like you're not. Whatever goal you're attacking, you've kind of got one both sides of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think if we did get the boys a few more times, there would be a sharper this way of doing it as they are, as when it's just 2 goals in front and 2 goals behind.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the other thing is when you got 6 boys trying to get the ball off you, you're under pressure all the time, right? And maybe you're not thinking as clearly. There's space there. I could go into that space. I think a lot of them are thinking, can I get my shot off as quick as I can, because it's a small pitch. They can shoot in different areas. All right. So what do you think went well then in terms of the session?
What I should say is we've done it previously, but with 6 boys, so it was 2 against 4s.
Yes.
And they were very good at that, actually, but almost in the same size space. So I think that's probably why. So I liked it. It was awkward. What I really liked about it was I was thinking I'm going to need to make this bigger at some point. And the only reason I didn't, and you saw it, Mark, so correct me if you think I'm wrong here, the boys never gave up. Yeah, they persevered. No one moaned about it. They actually looked like they were quite enjoying it. I thought, I'm not saying loving it, but they didn't mind it, and it was awkward and uncomfortable and challenging. And not everyone was getting the ball all the time, and there wasn't always the best decisions made. Yeah, but that's a big ask. 3 against 6 for a bunch of under 7, under 8s, and there was lots of successes, and there was some good stuff in it. Yeah, so it wasn't a car crash by any stretch. It was just tough. It was a tough practice, and I thought, you know what? Actually, they're doing it well enough. I don't need to change it. Am I seeing as much of the outcomes as I wanted to see? No. Right. But they're giving me enough, and they're enjoying it enough that let's leave it. What's the point of making it easier for them for the last 5 minutes? They're doing well. Maybe next time I might try a bit bigger, or then make it smaller maybe. But I thought actually it did okay. They enjoyed the challenge. They worked hard, and you could kind of see them getting it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think...
What was your take on it, and be honest?
Yeah, so I think that I thought it was excellent in terms of challenging the players, putting them under pressure in a situation where they've got to make kind of good decisions in a very short period of time because there's a lot of players in there. Could you make the pitch bigger? I think that perhaps at one point, maybe halfway through the session, you could have made it bigger for the players, or maybe even start with a bigger pitch and then make it smaller.
Yeah.
I think that's always good to
better to start bigger and make smaller, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I used the white lines that were there, and I kind of because it was easier, and I didn't feel right when I did it, and I probably should have gone a little bigger. But yeah,
that's saying that I don't think that it was too small. But I think you might have got more outcomes if it was a bigger pitch.
It would have been easier for the boys.
It made it, yeah, definitely. The other thing, I wonder whether you could have, as you're going round, and maybe this is a little bit out there, but as the game was going on, you could have walked around and just start to subtly move the goals along the line. So so they know where the goals are on the line. I've done this in some of the little matches I've done. You kind of, instead of being in the middle, you move it to the kind of far right hand side,
so and constantly have to scan.
They have to
start
scan where the goals are, because I think what you saw is maybe one or two of the boys would be a little bit in front of the goal,
more defensive minded.
That would have been an interesting challenge for them.
That's a good progression, I think, because you actually, I know you can often progress the practices in sessions themselves, which is absolutely fine. But I quite like progressing maybe a week or two later. So, because I think that works. So if we did it again, say next week or the week after, I think, and the players will get it quicker and probably better at it because they've had the previous experience, then I think that's quite a nice little challenge. Right, okay, you've got the game cracked now. I'm going to move the goals around a little bit. Or if me and you are both there, you're going to move the goals around a little bit now. So now you've got to be paying attention to where the goals are as well, both defensively and defensively. Yeah, it's a good one. I like that.
And I think the other interesting thing as well is that you naturally, the boys, and I know that they all play all different positions, all sides, but naturally you saw some of the boys would sit at the back and just be happy there and just get the ball, pass it. You got some of the boys would sit at the back, and then just because probably the ball went off behind the goal, they'd be the first one on it, and then they would be able to run with it. And then you saw some of the boys actually finding just kind of looking for space and being wide, and it's just interesting the different dynamics on how the players think. And I wonder whether you could have challenged some of the boys who were a bit more just defensive minded in that game to say, right, come on, you go and play somewhere else, or you I don't know. No, I don't think there's any rights or wrongs, but I just wondered.
But what I think that's how you know it's a good game, because what you're seeing is what you see in matches. Yeah, isn't it? So it is reflective of what you're seeing in a game. So and the question is then, how as a coach do you manage that? Yeah. And this is what I think, if you were just observing the session, you might be thinking, what's he doing there, and why isn't he dealing with that thing? And you're right, there was one boy that stays back quite a lot, and there's one boy that holds great space out wide and does the same things in matches. Yeah. Now, this is where it fits into the bigger picture. And I was watching this, I was thinking, do I say something? But my focus, and not exclusively, you don't just... But if you try and fix all the problems all the time, you don't fix anything. But my focus was outthink on the ball. So when you've got the ball, can you make a choice? And I was trying to stick to that as much as I could. Every now and then you've got to pick up something else because that's the way it is. But that was my focus. But with the player that stays back or the player that stays wide, they're doing nothing wrong. When we move on to next week about, okay, how do I support my teammates on the ball? Then it's a case of, okay, so the players are always staying back. Well, actually, when the ball's over there, where could you be now? Yeah. So then I can I could almost do the same practice next week. We'll do something similar, but I could do the same practice, but just literally move my focus now to the players off the ball. Yep. And I can talk, okay, hold on a minute. So if little Jimmy's there, Toby, where could you be? Yeah. So are you really helpful there? I know you're being protective and it's a great job, but actually we've got the ball, we're attacking. Let's be positive. Can you get forward? Yeah. And okay, little Frank, you're out wide, which is brilliant. What brilliant space you've got there. But so actually now it's decision making on the ball. So little Jimmy, look, you've got Frank out there calling for the ball. Why aren't we playing that ball to him out there? What are you thinking? What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? Because okay, that's brilliant. I didn't see that, but fantastic. So do we want Frank to come a bit closer there now? And I can start working on it. This is where I think it builds up, and the pieces then come together. Yeah. And it's so hard not to have that conversations today. But I don't. That's one thing I think I've got better at. Don't try and fix everything all the time. Even though it's a game-based practice we're doing and there's loads of stuff going on, let a few things go. If it's not killing the game, let it go and try and skip the lights. And then sometimes you've got to pick up other stuff because you've got to. But if you cannot do that, don't worry about it. We will get onto that at some point. But right now, I'm making good choices on the boys to focus. Can we do that better? Because actually, what really should happen is, he could be using the player that's standing back because he's got the space, then go again. Or he could be looking for that switch ball out to the wide player a bit quicker. So the problem may still be on the ball, and not the ones off the ball.
Yeah, it's fair. And I think the other thing is, in terms of the size of the pitch, I think if you're making good decisions in that small pitch, then when you move to a bigger pitch like 7-a-side, then you're going to have more time, right? And then perhaps transfer to be able to make
it harder in training is going to be in the matches, right?
Yeah. Okay, all right. So we had a 3v3v3 game.
Yep.
And we should have added really, your approach, your philosophy is very much a games-based approach, right?
Yeah.
So everything is really around a game. Obviously, ball skills are not. That's not. It's difficult to put that into a game as such.
Yeah.
But in general, everything you do, free play, this 3 versus 3 versus, they're all. It's a games-based.
It's a game
approach.
score, directional. I don't do very much kind of drill-based practices. Yep. And again, I think I will do more of that. And I think again, not putting everything off to next season, but actually, I see some really good drill-based practices and even unopposed stuff. Or like 4v1s or something, which we will do. But I think right now, I still believe that under 7s, under 8s, get the players playing and put in some principles. That's kind of my approach to it. Again, I'm not saying it's the right approach, but that's my approach. Get the work hard bit done, get them to understand the principles of the game. Then we can, then as the years go on, now we can start fine-tuning certain aspects of the game, the technical points to kind of hopefully make the players even better in their technical ability as well. But they get the game and they get the key principles around playing football.
And you're giving them lots of decision-making opportunities.
Not giving them the solutions, giving the problems to solve with some support and guidance around, what you might want to do there and the things to think about. Not saying, even in the outthink one, I've not told them when to pass the ball. Yeah. But that's one of your options, right? You've got that as an option, so it's an option now. Yeah. Can you pass the ball? All their boys can pass the ball, so we're good. So technically, could we get better at it a little bit? But they're pretty good passers. Yeah. Now it's about decision-making, isn't it? So that's the point. It's about, okay, you know what the options are. If we've got to work on some of that technical stuff, we'll do that. And over the next however many.
Yeah, and I think just to wrap up on the 3v3, I think the interventions that you were carrying out through that 3v3v3 game were really all around, from what I could remember, all around. Were you making? Was that a good decision?
Yeah.
What was the right decision, kind of thing, or you were asking the question?
Yeah.
And then.
And the players know, don't they? So and again, it's like what they see is different to what I see. So it's not. I'm not trying to. I might think that pass that would have been the better pass, and sometimes you'll say to them, "Well, what could you have done there? Could have passed it. Who to? Frank outside on the right. Okay, there. I agree personally, but I mean, I'm not telling him. Yeah. It's them, and also sometimes they'll shoot, and I think I shouldn't have shot from there. It's gone the back of the net. So who am I to say? Yeah. And my point would be, was that the best option? Yeah, I scored 100%. If you're going to shoot from 25 yards out in a small goal, and you've got better choices, make sure you score. Who's going to take that away from them? I haven't got all the answers, and the picture changes, and I haven't got the ability most of the kids have got to play football, so I've got to accept what they do.
And he didn't stop the game. I don't recall you stopping the game at all. They just played through. You had little interventions here and there, asking questions from players. But you didn't stop the game. There was no kind of whole team interventions.
No, I think what I would do if I was doing it again, because they're just getting a feel for the game. If I do it again next week, the week after, then what I'll probably do is work a bit, fine tune a bit more on individuals, pull them off a little bit. Also, it frees up a bit of space. Then you've got so it's room to ball players off and have a chat with them and put them back on. The one thing with that is they want to get back on straight away. So you've got to be a bit careful when and how you do that. And some players are better at coming off and chatting to you than others. In fact, I think that was probably the only time I did do one or two full interventions. Stop and have a chat about everything and remind them about you got 2 goals, because that's one thing they weren't doing. They weren't being clever in attacking, switching the play. So I took a couple of full interventions there, but I wanted them just to play and learn, and that you can see the brains going and stuff. And when they run into walls and they have issues, you can see them then thinking next time they're going to do it different. They know they've made a mistake sometimes, and if the situation presents itself again, you watch, they'll do it differently. If you see it 2 or 3 or 4 times, then you think, actually maybe I need to say something here, either as a whole group or to an individual. But not negative. Praise. If you've got one player that's just not passing the ball and making bad choices, one of the best ways of solving that is when the next player, the other player who does a brilliant pass, that's the one to recognise. Hold on a minute. Jim, what did Jimmy do there? What a brilliant ball into space, Jimmy. Well done. So you're not having to go at the kid for not passing. You're just recognising the one that is passing around. That's why your team's doing so well, mate. Well done, you. That is really clever. And that's one way of going about it. It hasn't got to be the negative, and it hasn't got to be every time.
That's fair. Okay, all right. We've got through that part of the session then. So next part, so after the 3 versus 3 versus 3.
Well, I had a wave game planned, which we did last week, which we won't talk about, we'll save it, but I like to have another game. A, because in case that other game wasn't working, I've got a plan B, and also just on time. So you can actually, I can spend less time on this and more time on that if I want to. But we didn't use this one today. And it literally, the 3 versus 3 versus 3 wave game is, you're now using the full pitch that we've got. So that full pitch for us is probably about 25 width and about 35 length. So, that kind of size. So not massive, but that pitch with 12 by 6 goals either end. And what you do there is you start with goalkeeper and 2 back players one end. a goalkeeper, 2 back players the other end, and then 3 players in the middle attacking one of those goals.
Yeah.
So they'll attack one way, doesn't matter which way they attack. They attack, and got to try and score whatever they can do. If the defending team with the keeper and the 2 back players, if they win the ball, that play's done. These guys win the ball and they attack the other way now. So they'll go from their end of the goal up to the other goal.
Yeah.
The 3 that just lost the ball then switch. One goes goalkeeper, ready to pick up, and the other 2 become defenders ready.
Yeah.
So the 3 that won the ball now attacking the other way.
Yeah.
Against the 2 defenders and the keeper. Again, they get their goal or try and shoot whatever is going to happen. They try and score. It's essentially a 3v2 with the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
As soon as the other team win the ball or they score, they grab a ball and they attack the other way, and it just keeps waving. So what
it's transition. You got transition, defence to attack as well.
And what I like about that, because the way we play football is we encourage our keepers to be outfield players with gloves on. Here you are switching from being right, I'm attacking now, and then we've lost the ball. Right now I'm a goalkeeper. I would do that, and then what I'll do is I'll make sure that every 2 or 3 minutes we'll change. So out the 3s will stay the same, but put a new keeper in.
Yeah.
So so as soon as you won the ball, you're not a goalkeeper anymore. You're attacking. But as soon as you lost the ball, now you're going to goal.
Yep.
Yeah. But we'll change to that player will be every maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Makes sense.
We didn't do it today because we didn't need to, because the other game was okay and went on longer and we did all right. So we didn't do that one. Instead, we went into so we used that pitch again. So we got that's 25 by 35 pitch.
It's not far off a 5-a-side, a standard kind of 5-a-side. Under 7s, under 8s pitch really.
Exactly. Maybe a bit smaller, but exactly. And that's kind of what I started with. So I marked that out first.
Yeah.
And then I've used probably about a quarter of that space for what we've done so far with the skill session and the 3v3 game. So I'm not had to move any cones around. I've literally had to move just some cones on one side to take out and put down the sides for the game. So literally I think I moved 3 cones today. And obviously, and the boys have bibbed up. We did change them slightly for this. So I had 9 boys, and I quite like this. And I know and bear in mind, it was a chilly day today, because they worked so hard, we got away with it. It was fine to do this. So we did a 4v4 with goalkeepers. So we did a goalkeeper, back left, back right, and a front player. So you kind of got your keeper and your 3 outfield players playing against the others, and with a rolling sub. So I've got the sub next to me. I asked for a volunteer. Always get someone who doesn't mind doing it. They're very kind, and that's good. It shows you how they're doing something for their team. So your hand goes up, and you've got the sub. And then what I can do then is we start playing the game, reminding people of the theme here. Right, so when you've got the ball, can you make good choices? Yep. It's the goalkeepers, the back players, the front player. Can you make good choices? And this we want to see in practice now in an end-to-end game. But exciting, no stop-start necessarily. But so the game goes on. You got oranges versus blues, and we're just playing football, normal rules. Although we don't do. When the ball goes out, the players say what we're doing. Your choice. Do you want to do throw-ins? Do you want to do dribbles and passes? It's their choice what they want to do. So it's their game. They can make the rules up as they want to, as long as they all agree. So I've got a player with me. So what I do with the player with me, we're watching the game and we're chatting. What can you see? What's working? What's not working? What would you do in that situation? Right, brilliant, fantastic, excellent. Right, get a bib on. Which team you're going to go on for? I'm going to tag out Tommy. Right, fantastic. Right, 2 minutes. Tommy's off. Bobby's gone on. Yep. So Tommy gets a quick drink, sits with me. The game's still going on. So we've got 4v4. Tommy's come off oranges. So he'll go on for blues. So we'll switch around. So 2 minutes chatting with me. What's working? What did you do well? What did you like? What you watching? How's he got on there? We'll watch a minute of the games. So we're chatting about it. We're watching what's going on. And they're happy to have a drink. They're tired anyway now. They're worn out. So they want a quick drinks break. They like seeing the game. What's going on?
They've been playing for an hour and probably 15 minutes.
And we've had 2 or 3 breaks with a couple of minutes, and that's about the game.
It's proper playing, right?
They're more rolling time. 2 minutes
classic ball rolling times very high,
maximised.
Right?
And they're happy to have a chat for 2 minutes and stuff like that. They're not desperate to get back on the pitch straight away. They're happy to have a drink and whatever else, and it's nice hearing their thoughts about stuff and are they getting it, and okay, when would you do this then? You can ask the questions, you can watch the game and see what happens in front of you, and this way you keep changing teams as well. So no one, although whoever team they want to score for, that team and be a part of the success of that team, they're not obsessed with that because the team's changing every time anyway. So it's a good way to work with odd numbers, but keep the game going.
Yeah, I think I must say I don't like to admit this, but I think you do that very well in terms of that little chat with the players. And I think and it's something that I try to do. I find it. I think I've always found with some players you can do it. You can have a good chat. Other players maybe less interested in talking, want to get back on the pitch. But I think that if you've kind of been doing this since under 6 years, and I think like you've built a rapport up with the players, a good relationship with the players, that they're happy to come and have a chat with you. And I think it must be great for you to understand more about the players, because you must get so much out of those little conversations with them, seeing what they're seeing, and having little chats with them. I think it must be almost priceless, right? Getting those couple of minutes.
I think what they know is they trust they're going to get loads of game time anyway.
Yeah.
So they're not worried about missing out because they've done loads. They're still going to get back on and play. They're never going to be off with me, and that's the game over and done.
Yeah.
They know they're going to get back on, so they're not worried about that. But you're right, it takes time to give and that self-belief. But those moments of you can have a joke with them.
Yeah.
You can have that little. It's about them then. I mean, the game's still going on, so no one's being. The players are happy. They're getting a drink. You can have a joke, chat about all that really good thing you did. You can give them a little bit of wow, what could you have done there in that situation? Oh, I like that. That's a great idea. Some are slightly more engaged than others sometimes, but I do think that's the time you can bond with the players a little bit, and definitely. And just share your thoughts in a constructive way. No one stops. It's not a whole intervention. It's not even a flyby. You've got there because even with flybys, if they're in the game that's going on, I think then it is a distraction because they're off now. They've got 2 minutes with you. It's only 2 minutes. I just think it's a nice way of doing it. And if you've got numbers, it's a great way of keeping. I mean, we could have played a 5v versus 4, so it didn't need to have. I've got no issue with having an overload, but actually it keeps the balance of the teams nice. It changes the teams, so no one's worried about what team they're on. I think it works quite well.
Yeah, it did work well. And then in terms of your, was there any conditions on the game, or was it just generally the focus is still the outthink? But you didn't have any kind of conditions on it?
No, there was no conditions. We do sometimes, but I think that last game, just letting them play. Yeah. And my focus really then was on the boy that was off more than anything else. I don't think I said much, if anything, while the game was going on. Yeah. All we did after 5 minutes is change the goalkeepers. Obviously, you got so we made sure that we play for about 5 minutes or so. I'd talk to a couple of the boys, and then we changed keepers after 5. Yeah. So everyone, a lot of boys got to go. Not everyone, but 6 boys got to go in goal. I think out of the 9. So. Yeah. Yeah, and so that was it. But I don't feel like I need to. Now, there's some weeks when but I can do that if I need to. Either be more involved in the game and not have to talk to the players if we've got even numbers, or I'm not rolling the sub, or we're playing. Because sometimes we do the one where if you've got a 5 versus 4, if you score, you join the other team. So that's quite a good one as well to keep it keeps changing. So then I could be more involved in the game a bit more and stuff. But I wanted to have today was about having a chat with the players and talking about the thing. And you can do it in different ways, that's for sure.
So basically. That
takes us up towards the end.
Pretty much most of your session, right?
So what we do then, the usual thing is, what's the score? It tends to always be quite close, but say one team's 2 down, okay, power play, every goal's worth 3 now, So even if you're losing, you've got a chance of in this game kind of thing,
And again, that raises the level, right?
Why they're tired.
All of a sudden, the team ahead are a little bit aggrieved. They don't show it, but they think, oh, no, I keep. Yeah. And then the teams behind thinking, oh, I just need 1 goal when I'm back into it.
Yeah, it's clever. Let a couple of goals go, and then you go, and then whatever the score is, it's winning goal. So, and no one complains about it. They're used to it at first. They don't complain now. It's like, and winning goals. So you could have been even 15-5 up, but actually the other team's going to get the goal first. You've got sometimes you've got to go again, right? I think winning goal, it all goes crazy. Getting back in, have a little chat quickly in the middle of the pitch, just literally 30-second debrief, nothing too long. Yeah. Just because we've had the chats 1-to-1 anyway, we spoke about the theme, just a little reminder of, did you work hard? Did you enjoy it? What were we talking about today? Fantastic. And then a fun finish. Do you want to do pens, free kicks, something else? And then we'll just make sure that we'll do something for the last 5-10 minutes while we're putting the cones away and getting things sorted out before we do the player of the week with the other teams. We'll just have a fun finish, pens or something like that, just to take the edge. No one's thinking about the scoreline then. It's just a way to finish. Usually the boys will choose pens or free kicks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a good way to wrap up, right? So they've started with free play, which is fun and enjoyable for them.
Yeah.
They've had fun through the session because it's a games-based approach that you've got on, but it's serious fun.
Yeah.
And then they finish with a kind of penalty shootout, which everyone loves, right?
Yeah, and everyone takes a penalty, everyone goes to go in goal. So the way we do it is we say, okay,
which
take
is a good thing as well, right?
Yeah. Not one goalkeeper, all goalkeepers, So you usually, if we're doing pens, everyone get 2 pens and 2 chances in goal. So you take your pen, then you go in goal, and everyone does that twice, and then we might do it in teams or we might just do it individually. It doesn't really matter. And again, what I will do next season is we've done it once or twice this season actually, but the boys learn that. So actually they'll own the skill session part and they'll own the fun finish at the end. And I'm happy to put the cones away and do that myself if I need to. If they're doing that practice, I'll talk to the parents or something. But they'll own that. Get the parents involved. Yeah. And that's it. That's the session.
And then just tell us about player of the week quickly.
Oh yeah, okay. So then what we do is all 3 teams, red, white, and blue, will merge into one space.
Brilliant.
And each of the coaches will ask, the players what they did in the sessions. We'll share some of that, only a minute or so each. They're going to be too long in the session, and then we'll allocate a player of the week based on who's hardest working player in relation to the theme of the week. And that player will come up, get their trophy, and all the players will clap that player. So again, we've kind of started hopefully as one squad in the free play, and we finish as one squad at the end. That's how it should be. We certainly end that way every week. The free play bit. it doesn't always run as well as we like it to, in the sense of mixing the players up. Always do free play, but as in getting everyone involved across the different teams. But we certainly always finish together.
Yeah, and I think the good what I think is a good thing. You see the structure you've got is replicated each week. So the boys always know it's always free play. They generally know they're always playing matches because they never ask for a match because that's pretty much what the session is. And then they always have a fun kind of finish. And then they always have player of the week together. So the structure's the same. The boys know what
the framework is the same.
The framework, exactly, yeah.
And the themes that all three teams work on are the same. We do it different ways, but the other guys working on out think, out play too. You know, in different ways because it's their teams do different things. They've got their own coaching styles. Yeah. So even when we're doing the washout at the end with all the players, we're talking about the same stuff. Yeah. It's different approaches to it, but it's the same stuff. So all like even today when the boy plays up with us, he knows what we're talking about. It's not the formations we play are the same and things. So we've got that continuity across all three teams. It's just a level that's slightly different between some of the players.
And you work together as well behind the scenes, right? You kind of you're in.
We do. We share training plans, things like that. I mean, we did a lot more at the start. So we don't do so much, and we don't need to because our teams need different things. But we'll meet and we'll make sure we agreed on the principles we want to put across the team. Because even to be fair, and I forgot about this, I'm claiming all the glory for this a little bit here. But the think, out play bit, it was definitely somebody else's idea. But even when one of the coaches suggested we do it for this age group, I wasn't so convinced at first. It wasn't my first choice. And I was like, but we have to agree about these things. And I wasn't against it, but I didn't really see it in my head. But it's been great, and I'm so glad we did it. And that didn't come from me. That came from one of the other coaches. And I'm really pleased we did it. And, it's important that we work collectively, and it can't always be the things you want to do necessarily. And actually, sometimes, even if you think it's not the best idea, if you go with it, maybe you could be wrong. And I certainly was wrong on this one. It's worked out well.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. I think that probably covers the session, right?
Yeah. And we've gone on for an hour and 6 minutes. So if you can rip me apart, you've got about 2 minutes to do it.
Usual. Okay. I know.
Was it all right?
I think it was good. Yeah. What I have got is some feedback from a player. I've recorded this, which I think
brace myself.
You brace yourself. Yeah. I think I'll play it, and it's only literally a couple of minutes, and I didn't prep this player.
Okay.
I literally, and it is my son, and I was in the car. I said to my wife, just get the recorder on, let's see what he says about the session.
Is he going to be sub game tomorrow? I want to hear this.
Yeah, he's not playing tomorrow now.
So anyway, we can play it down the mic.
So I'm going to play it. I'm just going to play it.
Press play. It should come out okay, I would have thought.
My phone turned up. Here we go.
Nothing rude, is it?
No.
Okay.
Hope not.
What's your name?
Louis.
And what position do you play, Louis Edwards?
All around.
All around, okay. And what foot do you kick with?
Both.
And what is your strong foot and what's your weak foot?
None.
Good answers. Okay, all right. What was training like this morning?
Brilliant.
Why was it brilliant?
Because we had different teams and we had lots of space to play.
Lots of space to play, okay, all right. But what else was good about it?
That we played fun stuff.
You played fun stuff, okay. All right, that's good. So is training meant to be fun?
Yes.
And what else did you actually do in training this morning?
We had 3 goals.
Yeah.
And there were 3 teams. 3 teams of 3.
Yeah.
Makes 9 players.
Yeah.
And we done a 3v3v3.
Okay. And was it hard?
Yes.
And what was hard about it?
That when I had the ball, 6 people were trying to tackle me.
Okay, all right. And what did you have to do then if the 6 people were trying to tackle you?
Scan and when to pass, when to shoot, and when to dribble.
Right, okay. So you had to make a decision in terms of when to pass, when to dribble, when to shoot, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Lulu.
I'll take that.
That's it. And
very good.
Genuinely, that was about 15 minutes before I come over.
Were you holding like cards up with answers on it?
Exactly, yeah. I was driving back after the QPR game, and I just thought, let's just do this, see what the feedback is like.
Well, it's great to hear that he plays everywhere, that he's got 2 feet.
Yeah.
And the session was fun.
He's got no good feet.
Or no feet, yeah. No good feet. Oh, that's nice to hear from from the players themselves. Thanks, Mark. Look, it has got to be fun, but you see how hard the boys work.
Yeah.
And I think one of the dangers in just spelling out a session is you don't get the context, not just around the curriculum around it, if you like, but also just about the environment that's created. I think we've said it before, but what I'm proud about with this age group is we've created a good environment. I believe, not perfect, we don't get it right, but it's a hard-working environment with challenges where the players come and solve problems without it being too coach-centred. I don't think it's the Scott show. It shouldn't be the Scott show. I don't want it to be the Scott show. It's about them, and I try and give as much ownership to them as I possibly can, but also remembering that actually you need an adult there to control it and just make sure that things are still, done to the right way. It's not the playground. And in getting that balance right, I think we're pretty good at that. And the players, to be fair to them, they've stepped up to the challenges, and I think we're reaping the rewards in the sense of what you see, not just the training, but also what they then demonstrate in the games that they do. Playing different positions, showing good resilience, technically good players improving, loving their football. And I think if that's the outcomes you're getting from this, regardless of the results, then we're probably doing most things right, or at least more than we're doing wrong.
I agree. And I think that the phrase you've used a lot is fun, but it's serious fun. I think the boys at 7 and 8 years old have got, or the girls, whoever you're coaching at that age, have got to have fun, right? It's like, even when you play football, you want to go and have fun. There's no point in playing if you don't have fun, but it has to be serious fun. And I think the other thing, as a coach, you have responsibility for that player, not just from a footballing standpoint, but also think to kind of help them in their kind of wider life outside football. The things that you teach them in terms of respect, effort and fun, I think comes into play, not just in football standpoint, but everything they can do as well.
You don't see the tears, tantrums, arguments. You don't see any of that stuff, do you? Pretty much. I mean, very rarely. I don't even think about it. I can almost not. It's not in my head now. And I think this is the point again about if you set up the stuff right in the first place, you're not thinking about that stuff, so you can focus on the coaching. We said it at the beginning a little bit. Like, the more you get right around. I mean, there is no little things in coaching, but the more you get all those little bits just right, then they're much easier to run the session and coach the bits. Now, if you're a better coach than me, and most people are, then you'd get more out of this, because actually you could then focus on some of the stuff that I'm not so good at, but the boys would get even better coaching if they had a better coach than me, because the environment's good enough for them to focus on that stuff. But I just think that's so important, that wider things. And if you're running a session now with players, think, I want to do some of this stuff, I want to change the environment, just persevere with it. It won't change overnight if you've had the players for a while, but actually just stick to your principles, put the basics in place. The players will come around quite quickly, especially younger ones, but even older ones will come around. They like routine, they like organisation, they like to feel safe and secure in what they're doing. But it hasn't got to be the same stuff, obviously, but you just create the framework in which then, that's consistent in a space in which they own. Sound all right?
It's good. I think it's very fair. Yeah, it was good. Overall, it was a good session.
All right.
So
I'll give you. I don't rate it out of 10, but I appreciate the feedback. What we'll do is we'll do an under 11s one. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah. So you can talk through yours. I know there'll be some similarities across there, but I think it'd be good and just see what is different between the under 11s compared to under 8s, and we'll share that with the listeners.
Sounds
too.
Good. So
Sound all right?
You can get your revenge and grill me, right?
I'm ripping that one apart.
Brilliant.
Right. Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks everyone for listening. Remember, please, if you can, like the episode if you do like it. Give us some feedback and some reviews. We'd love to know what you do differently around your sessions, and what works for you. And we can pinch some of those ideas. You can find us at Soccer Coach Cast on Twitter, and the website is www.thesoccercoachingpodcast.com, and you can email us that as well. The links are on there if you want to reach out to us. But please do like, share the episodes, and give us a rating on whatever podcast host you're listening to.
Perfect.
All right.
Cool.
Good job.
Well done,
all right.
Scott.
Speak to you soon, everyone. Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks, Mark.